And welcome everyone to Thursday, November 19th, our sixth Filecoin Core Devs meeting. Cool. So maybe starting with updates from various different implementation teams. I think I always make Forrest go second. So you guys want to go first this time?
Sure. Yeah, we'll kick things off. So we've been making good progress with interop. We've fixed all the interop issues we've encountered up until this point. So we're now syncing up to height, I think 22,000 or so and rising. So it's just running in the background and fingers crossed. We're more than halfway to the Breeze upgrade now, and we're feeling pretty confident that we have achieved interop with V1. I might eat my words there, but we're feeling pretty good. Now that we've kind of, I guess, dealt with most of the issues there, our focus is syncing with mainnet. So upgrading to Actors V2. So we've started making changes here, and we've continued implementing what we need to for staying in sync with the network rather than just the initial sync. So that's also another parallel line of development that's happening. And our third goal, which is markets and storage miner integration, we're still working on getting the first block produced, but we're inching closer and closer every week. So things are slowly coming together. Also chatted with Molly last week about an audit. We're aiming for early January to be syncing with mainnet and ready for an audit. We'll keep you up to date with that. Obviously, that's just a target for now, but that seems reasonable to us. And then I think Austin has a couple updates as well that he'd like to share.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the idea is just to share the reiterate the points or questions I came up with in the implementers chat, which is around the amped and hamped updates, which I guess we might chat about later. And then the other issue around how the panic handling is, or how like panics are handled within the protocol, because it's very hard to kind of match with other implementations. I put all the information in the implementers chat, but if we want to chat about that. Other than that, I guess like the improvements have just been kind of performance updates for our client. Like we're, while syncing and stuff, we're definitely either in line or faster than Lotus in some cases. But I guess it's it's hard to test the two, and I haven't it's definitely not toe-to-toe yet because I haven't been able to test Lotus with the BLST feature yet because that just came out. But yeah, was that all that that you mentioned that I should cover?
Yeah.
Cool.
Awesome. Maybe we'll hop through other implementation updates and then go back for open questions. If that sounds okay. Cool. Stephen, do you want to go next for Venus?
Sure. Yeah, I think we had made a very good progress on the VLAS implementation and also about integration with Lotus. As I mentioned in last week, we are doing the syncing from the height 0. Now I think we are it's going very good. We're almost catch up at the mainnet height, and we are also working on the chain-sync with the snapshot and the checkpoint to catch up the speak Ultra version 2. Now I think we're very confident about this. Though we have some small problems, small issues we're handling right now. But we think, and also we passed all the tests, the unit test and also the test vectors. So we think that we're pretty confident about all the integration. It's because also the Lotus and the Venus catching up is kind of slow. So yeah, we just need perhaps a more few days to catch up. Okay, this first thing, and another thing is that we finally achieve with a small milestone is that we merge a working branch to the master this afternoon. So okay, perhaps I can share my screen to let you know. Let me share my screen. Wait a moment. Here. Yeah, can you see my screen?
We can.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah. So here we have pull request about the current version of the implementation. So right now, okay, I think this is a very big merge, and yeah, it's because we had all the changes in last few weeks, and maybe more than 1 month. We have many changes to be compliant with the spec, and to fix the many things here. Including this big act version 2, the test vector, and the block sync, protocol support, and upgrade the block and message validation. So yeah, there is one problem we met is that let's go down here. I don't think I have the I have the privilege to change the setting of the CI, and also I also want to add some webhook application to this to do something like DevOps, but I cannot do that right now. So I use some help from this to make this pass, or to just remove this so that we can really do the merge. Right now, because in the current version, we are not doing the mining, and we want to do the mining integration next step. So we need to make this pass and to have this merge into the master. So
yeah, we'll make sure to you should definitely have the ability to configure Circle CI on the Venus repo. I'll make sure you guys get that.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So this is the current status, and I think next we'll do some do more things. The most important thing is that to integrate the miner part. Okay, so that we could do the power growth, and we will really have working VLAS load. We expect that we could have that done perhaps in 2 weeks, or need more time on that. Okay, I think that's all for me.
Stephen, I missed that last note briefly. You expect to have what done in 2 weeks?
To have the mining part and integration together. So right now we only have the chainsafe part, the virtual machine, and the message block verification is something like this. We don't have the setting. Yeah. So we need to have the setting part integrated together.
Makes perfect sense. Thank you. Fuhan, you guys want to go next?
Yes, sure. Can you hear me well? Okay. We have quite a separate situation from the Rust guys. So we decided to take a little bit of refactoring of our code. We realized that our implementation of the node sync and especially graph sync is not as efficient as we wanted it to be. And we realized that the event-based architecture will suit it more well. And we decided that as we current version is in a working state, but we haven't tested it thoroughly. And now, as we see some flaws in it, it's easier and cheaper for us to go to the event-based architecture straight away. So we are planning to finish with it by the end of the next week. And hopefully our version of Node will be working by the end of the month. So this is our ETA. In parallel, we are doing, on the last meeting, I reported that we have gone through the storage deal, and it works well. And we have started working on the debugging and making retrieval deal compatible. We haven't finished with that yet, but it's on the way to finish, and hopefully it will be finished by the end of this week or early next week. So as I mentioned on previous meeting, we are working on our on implementation of actors. Currently, we are all working on a payment channel actor, and I think the storage one is the next one, as far as I remember. So these are tools that we are working on in parallel. So I think that's mostly it from our side. Any questions, or do you have anyone else to report? I think no. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. Exciting getting into the retrieval stuff. Very fun. Ayush, do you want to go for Lotus?
Yeah. Yes, Lotus had a relatively quiet couple of weeks, at least based on our usual cadence. Mostly motivated by the fact that folks in the community, miners, developers, etc., were reporting that Lotus had some stability issues. So we kind of took a few steps back to make things more performant broadly and fix some stability bugs. Obviously doesn't get all the way there. The chain footprint is still huge, but yeah, things in general work faster, run out of memory less, require less memory in general. So that's good. That was most of last week. This week, we just shipped our 1.2.0 release, which will be the second network upgrade post liftoff. There's more moving pieces in this upgrade, consensus critical moving pieces in this upgrade than we've had in a while. So I think when y'all do get to integrating this upgrade, definitely take a close look at the staging PR and the milestone. We try to document things better this time. Most of the stuff is around minor edge cases, and so it's not the most important stuff in the world. The critical piece in the upgrade itself is upgrading our proofs. So the new actors version that we're using introduces a new fixed proof type. And so there's a window in which both old proofs and new proofs will be accepted. And then after a second upgrade, also introduced in this release, we switch to only accepting the new proofs. So I think it's fairly intuitive. But if you have any questions with that, I'm happy to answer them. In terms of priorities moving forward, I think Lotus will kind of continue to be in maintenance mode basically for the rest of the year. We've only got a few weeks until the winter break. So for the most part, we'll be making sure this upgrade goes well, responding to any issues, continuing to try and make overall UX and performance a little better. But no active development is being planned. Yeah, we also landed a major refactor to the mining code, but I don't think that's of too much interest to this group, unless any of y'all are miners.
Awesome. Any questions for Ayush about the state upgrades or anything like that?
Yeah, and I'm sorry, I may miss I missed that. You do have a plan of the proof upgrading when we'll do that? Yeah, do you have a rough plan?
Sorry, can you define proof upgrading? Like upgrading to what?
This isn't the upgrade to NSE, Stephen. This is just a bug fix around proofs code that requires a new proofs version, but that doesn't actually change any of the circuits or anything like that.
Okay, yeah, thank you.
So not NSE,
Yeah.
not new hardware. That's yeah, not happening there now.
Do you know offhand which version of the proofs API was the one that this was fixed in?
The RESTful proofs itself is 5.4.0. I don't know what the FFI wrapper version was.
Gotcha. Cool. Yeah. Thanks.
Other questions for Lotus, if any? Cool. Then maybe we hop back to some of any of the questions that Austin brought up, if any of those needed more.
I have a question about like implementations in general. Would now be a good time?
Sure.
Can I? Okay.
Through to this Q&A section.
Awesome. And so my question, and I'm happy to wait for my answer, is just like how everyone is approaching about the messaging layer, so Gossip Sub. How robust is the implementation that you are using for the language that you are developing your implementation of Filecoin, and how are you consuming the DRAM randomness? Are you just consuming it from the HTTP endpoint, leveraging CDNs, or are actually leveraging, I don't know, some like compilation from the Go version to some other language so that you can access also to the randomness through Gossip Sub as well? Or yeah, I'm just like interested to know like those two dependencies that Filecoin heavily relies on. How are you dealing with them? And is everything good, or do you have anything on plan to make it better?
Eric, do you wanna? I saw you unmuted.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, unlike, so obviously the REST implementation I think is like relatively stable. It's being used in ETH2 for Lighthouse. So, but obviously I don't think we're doing any crazy stuff on libp2p side. It seems like most people are using a very vanilla configuration of Gossip Sub and all of that. So for us, it's like it works fine. And then in terms of DRAND, we're just consuming it from the CDN on the HTTP endpoint. And then for, I guess, also with respect to libp2p, we're using the BitSwap from the IPFS embed team. But we're using an older version of of their BitSwap library because they made a change to it and it's like not compatible with any other BitSwap protocol. Yeah, not sure if there's anything else you are asking.
Interesting. I mean, thank you, for sharing the extra detail on BitSwap. I was actually not familiar with that variation of BitSwap that makes it incompatible. Is it incompatible? Like, can you just dial to a Filecoin node and like use BitSwap for transfers, or how is that working on?
Sorry, what are you asking exactly?
I'm exactly asking like how are you using BitSwap and like with the rest of the network?
Oh yeah, so when we receive a Gossip Sub block, it comes with a list of CIDs for messages, and then we add that to our want lists, and then we broadcast those out to receive the messages for them.
Oh, interesting. Okay. So interesting that is the case, because Gossip Sub itself has the mechanism for lazy pull, which should be able to pull the messages. So I guess I'll need to dig more to make sure I understand better that specific use of it, because it seems that the message is also being published through just like the file transfer mechanism so that it gets pulled later.
Like we do get messages over Gossip Sub too, right? But it's like not guaranteed that we have all the messages within the block, which is why we also use BitSwap.
Gotcha.
Yeah, so there's a first
I believe
check
this
first.
is consistent with how Lotus does it. So
yeah, exactly. That's why I was saying like I need to update my knowledge there.
Yeah, we check locally to see if we have the messages before we look over BitSwap. But yeah, that if that fails, then that's the the second tier. And as far as the DRAM stuff, we definitely do, like, it would be nice to have some client built out for it, but we just don't really have the bandwidth right now. So we're just making standard HTTP requests to the endpoint.
Gotcha. Good to know. Well,
Yep. As for the Fuhan implementation, we are also using the HTTP endpoint to get the data from the DRAND. And as for the Gossip sub, we are developing it by ourselves. So we are the maintainers for the C++ libp2p implementation, which is also used by Polkadot. So we are implementing it by ourselves.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And I don't think this problem applies to Stephen, since it's all in Go. He's luckily in the lingua franca.
Yeah.
Right. They will just follow what Lotus is doing.
Lucky ducks.
All right, that's great news. So I was just like wondering if there was like any blockers, but yeah, like using the DRAND through the HTTP endpoint is totally a valid option. And like we have so many CDNs fronting it that like even if one fails, you can always use the other. And like for a CDN to fail, like something must be wrong with the whole internet. But like in the future, it's still good to think about just like to have the real client so that you leverage, like you can access the random randomness through Gossip Sub as well. And yeah, like and the fact that like the libp2p implementations that you are using are also used by other projects that also invest heavily on Gossip Sub. It's good. Like it means like there's a lot of progress and a lot of people looking at the code and testing it. Okay, that was my question. Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you.
Austin, did you have a specific question coming from the Phil implementers chat that didn't already get a reply from either Stephen or Anorth?
So yeah, I guess they did reply to them. So I guess we can just leave it as the ones that were chatted about there. But if we did want to talk about the plan of if there was going to be an integration of it, yeah, I'm fine with leaving it as the way that in leaving those discussions on the implementers chat. I just like brought it up if that was something that we wanted to mention.
Yes, I guess a couple things. First, for background for anyone that might have missed the conversation, yeah, Austin raised two good questions around one around the AMP and HAMP implementations that we have and some inefficiencies in them, which were already largely in the actors team's radar and is in progress to get fixed. So if anyone missed that, take a look at that. And the second question was around essentially how what we do when actors panics or in some other odd error situations where right now we trap all panics coming from actors, and I think use a syserror reserved exit code. So those are the conversations being referred to just for background. Austin, what do you mean by, and it might be good to keep those conversations largely in the implementer channel just so there's a thread of discussion, but I'm curious what you mean by integration, like integrating which parts.
Oh, just like if there's ever a plan to if the fixes for these, like the optimizations of the HAMP and the AMP to reduce gas charges, like that obviously has to come with a network upgrade. Like if there's any plan around that, or for any case to change how the panic handling, but like the panic handling is just more of a topic of conversation. I'm just like, as I said, I just noted it was a pain point. I didn't necessarily say that anything had to change. But yeah, I just bring it up if there was any plan around that.
Yeah, no plan around around the panic handling as far as I know. So that'll probably be, stay as is for the time being. But thank you for flagging regardless. For the AMP and HAMP implementations, we're planning on it. Yeah, like you said, that'll have to go in behind the network upgrade. We're thinking January for that, which hopefully will be our next network upgrade, unless we need one more urgently for some reason. So that's the current plan. And yeah, as you said, most of the changes don't actually need a migration, but I think the actors team will have some other changes that do require a migration going into that upgrade as well. So we can afford to be a little more aggressive with it. So January is when that should happen.
Huzzah. Did anyone else have cross-implementation questions, announcements, other updates? Amar, did you want to update anything happening in chainsafe land?
Yeah, for sure. So we're actually hosting our first virtual event. I think it's December 2nd to 4th, so about 2 weeks from now. There will be some people from this call giving talks, which will be awesome, and just talks coming from all of our partners. So there'll be talks, bunch of talks from the Filecoin ecosystem, Polkadot ecosystem, Ethereum ecosystem, as well as the Cosmos ecosystem, and more. Right, yeah, Raul, you're more than welcome still to join us. And yeah, just wanted to mention, like, we're really excited. I think there'll be a lot of great talks, and we're all definitely missing getting together in person. And so we're hoping that this is just an opportunity for all of us to reconnect and learn all together and just have some fun. So yeah, the website is cscon.chainsafe.io, and you can register now. So yeah, that's about it. Feel free to message me if you have any questions.
Fantastic.
Awesome. It's going to be fun. Cool. I think Ayush mostly gave the update on our state upgrade that's coming up, I guess a week from 2 days ago. And so that's out. I believe that has fixes for FIPS 5 and 6. Is that right, Ayush?
Correct, if I'm remembering those numbers correctly, or if you're remembering those numbers correctly.
They're definitely the two most recent ones,
Yeah.
Which I guess, to keep myself honest,
Yep.
are specifically 5 is the vesting rewards more efficiently, and 6 is when you declare faults recovered, you don't have to have already repaid all of your fee debt, which
Yes.
means that a miner who's recently gotten into window post debt can still recover their window posts before paying off all of their debt.
Yes, I believe those are both on Actors 232, which is in Lotus 120.
Sorry, on this one in particular, I think FIP6 is still on last call. And before I don't know if we are too late, but we have proposed to hold some of the work on FIP6 in the issue. If we are too late, it's fine.
I think you may be too late.
Okay.
But
If
then
that's
it's not
okay.
last call, right? Yeah.
Yeah,
because
because
it's on
last call ended on the 11th.
The comment was before, no?
I don't know if it was before or not. This is something that anyway was found. Exact date is it doesn't create problems. It's just that it proposes an alternative change, and we can always integrate if this shipped if this shipped already. That's fine. It's something that we recently found that we find let's say a better way to fix it, because this issue, the fixing as it was written, the security considerations that we were accepting before, so we were fine and comfortable with that. There was we found that there was a better way to implement what was proposed.
Or rather, what was proposed has some kind of issue that requires another fix, but that other fix, it's still not obvious what the fix should be. Let me.
I think in the security consideration of the FIP, there is like a mention about this issue that we know is caused by this FIP, that is power table inflation. We mentioned 2 fixes, 1 and 2. Like we thought one is very easy to implement, but we didn't see some problems, and so we have to go with 2. That is a bit more complicated and it's more time for brainstorming about the implementation. I think this is the situation.
Of the paths forward that were proposed in the issue, which is ship the fix to the FIP that we landed on, and then identify what the patch should be and its priority.
I think 6 hasn't actually landed, just based on looking at the specs actors change log.
Okay.
So that simplifies the conversation.
That does simplify this conversation and probably also moves this back from last call into draft. If people are going to go back and keep discussing it. Note that the longer that we do this, the longer miners are in an unhappy state where you know, they may get into fee debt and then end up unable to recover quickly and accrue more and more debt.
Right. So strategically, it's up to, I guess, us and the implementers to say, in order to solve the short-term problem, we could merge this, and then we plan to do a future upgrade, which avoids which is like a much better update. That's also a path, which is it is also a path. It's just that the idea was to avoid two different upgrades.
And also there's an
intermediate, sorry, is to avoid an intermediary period where there are some new concerns that would bring on the power table. They are not really exploitable. And if they were to be exploitable, we can always do a hard fork and fix.
So it's exploitable or not exploitable?
So the only way to exploit this, if this change was to get on, is if you are a very, very large miner and you are in debt, you put yourself in debt and then you stop mining. So it's like, you don't really want to do this as a large
Seems pretty
miner.
irrational.
It's not rational. Yes, yeah, absolutely not rational.
Okay, it sounds like this needs more discussion with the spec actors team. Nicola, have you and Alex already talked about this?
We did not talk about, there is a call tonight where actors are talking about this with us.
Okay, cool. I'm going to, if you can confirm that this isn't in the current state upgrade, then cool. Then we'll just bump this back to draft again, and others can go back to discussing this on the issue.
My only request for this team is whether we think that it's what's more important. Do we have a lot of people that are in this fee debt crisis? And if there is like very few people, then maybe it's worth to do a better fix. And if there is a lot of people and they're suffering, then we should probably do this fix as soon as possible.
Well, I think if it's not in the upgrade that we've put out, then it's not going to be happening until January anyway. So you have some time to think about it.
That simplifies a lot of things.
There we go.
Yeah, looking at actor code, I believe this is not shipped.
Yep.
I'm going to ask on Slack.
Sounds good. Any other stuff about I think we already talked about the upcoming state upgrade, but other important notes as to its contents, either Ayush or Magic?
No.
All right, then Raul, do you want to talk to us about any of the latest stuff in test vector land?
Sure, I can do that. Latest development is work is finishing on the project TBX command, which is going to allow us to boost the variant coverage of all existing vectors to all protocol versions. So basically what this command does is it takes a vector that has specific variants and you give it a target protocol version that you want to rebase that vector against, and then it runs it. And if it succeeds, it updates and adds the variant in place saying, hey, this vector is also valid for this version. This is basically what I'm finishing up right now. The complexity there has to do with protocol versions that require migrations. So there's some trickery to play with, kind of like some clever stuff that we can do. Like, for example, creating a synthetic state tree with the actors that are present in the original state tree, putting them into that new state tree, which only contains those actors and like no more nodes, and then running the migration of that state tree, allowing it to fall back to an existing client that has any CIDs that are part of that state that need to be migrated. And then we run the vector against the new state tree and assert against the existing post conditions. This is kind of like a trick to play, and it requires manual review of the result, but it's a nice automation, essentially. It will require, in any case, a manual review of the results because gas costs might change. I think the receipt should be the same unless the functionality, like the status, the exit code should be the same unless the functionality, the underlying functionality actually changed between versions, in which case the test vector is not valid, right? So that's basically what I'm working on, and like building a lot more intelligence. So there's a basic project command that is already super useful. But I'm building more intelligence into it by doing these tricks to see how much more coverage how much more reuse of existing extracted vectors we can achieve by transplanting them using clever tricks like this. Besides that, I'm going to run another sweep against the latest chain epochs, just waiting on some Sentinel data availability to identify the correct messages to extract from chain so that we can have another refresh of the corpus. That's kind of like a little bit on the side. My focus has been on other stuff related to Lotus and block stores and Badger and storage engines and a lot of stuff there. Painful stuff. Any questions? I guess not.
Awesome. Two next things are to review open FIP PRs and reviews to changes in the FIP process. For open FIP PRs, there's one pull request from the spec actors team around batching sector pre-commit, but it hasn't yet been merged. There's a couple of open comments on it. Nicola, you were the generator of a set of these comments. From your vantage point, does it need additional discussion before it can be merged as a draft FIP?
Sorry, I missed which one is the one?
The batch sector pre-commit FIP that is it's still a draft. We don't have any PRs, or we don't have any draft FIPs that have been merged yet. We only have a PR.
But I think Alex will be. So is your request to like move it forward or to?
My question to you, since we don't have Alex in here for time zone reasons, is from your vantage point, should this one be merged, or is this kind of still collecting feedback and perspectives?
It is still collecting feedback because there is a. Let's say that there is a conversation between ZX and I that we need to resolve, and there may be. This is a contentious one. In other words, we would like to, just to clarify, this is issue 25.
27.
Okay, sorry.
It might have 25 as well as an issue. It's pull request 27. No,
sorry, but yeah, pull request 27 and 25 are I think
the same thing, correct.
So yeah, unfortunately, due to the comments in 25, it's still a bit contentious, and we need to. I haven't had a chance to convince ZX and or Alex that this is a good idea. I mean, conversations are happening. This is unclear how priority is this in comparison to other things that may come up. But if people have questions on this one, I'm happy to take them. Let me say the TLDR is the following: is that this could benefit some large miners that do operation in bulk. So the question is, in practice, they will benefit them very little. It's on a one-off cost. And the other issue is that this could help. This will allow miners to onboard more storage, which is always something that we need to be careful with, because if miners can onboard more storage, I I think it's fine, but there are some people that are raising problems that could come with it, which we need to understand before doing such a large change. It's a small change, but it's a large, potentially large impact.
Yeah, the change is in the dynamics on the network, and I think like whenever there's a change that may potentially impact that, we should take more time to think through the different impacts. And my understanding is the next release would be in January, so I think we have some time to iterate on this issue.
Yes, exactly. That's a good way of thinking. I think this wasn't clear to me that until January. I mean, maybe it was, but now it's very explicit. And having a timeline which is until January gives us puts us in a different mindset of doing right things with more tests. And that like issues like other issues that we did before that were fine, but issues like this that are more contentious, they will need like more simulation before getting proper approval.
Yeah, there's one question about this, and I guess that and this change may be helpful for the for the gas fee, base fee actually keep lower, perhaps I'm not so sure, because of the message number will be lower, and would it be helpful for the because currently the base fee is very high, and there are many miners want to send in more sectors into the network. Okay, if this can help that to keep the base fee lower, I would think that this will be very welcome for many miners.
I think definitely it would be very welcome for miners, for sure. But I also feel like base fee is a social problem more than a technical one, because miners have full control over what base fee should be, right? And so it's more like a social problem. Sometimes people are being short-sighted right now, in my opinion, doing things that may benefit some miner, but it's actually hurtful for themselves in the long term, but they don't realize that. So I think it's more of a social.
Yeah, I think that is another thing, but technically I would think that this will improve the TPS, right?
Correct. And at the same time, I think another concern there is, I think we see about 16 petabyte a day. That's a lot of supply, but we don't have much, like the storage tooling is still like lacking. We don't have much demand on the network. And I think just giving network some more time to grow the other side before we pick up the supply again might also be useful for the network in the long run, in both the short run and the long run. Yeah.
And also to express like my opinion, which is very similar, but on a different angle to you, Stephen, is that in practice, this change would decrease the gas cost for pre-commit. So in theory, you will have less, in theory, you may get blocks being less full, but in practice, people may take advantage of this and just seal more. And so it may have no impact on base fee. It will only have an impact on improving the overall cost of adding new storage, but it may not have any impact on base fee in practice.
Yeah, it may even raise base fee, because if you are willing to pay the same amount for seeing a sector and the sync operations is less gas, then it will make the base fee higher for other operations.
Yeah, I think miners may be very myopic about this, and they will say, oh, it costs less, let me seal more. But then in practice, they end up doing a lot more proof commits, which are a heavy weight on the base fee. So I would say this is a good change. I would rather see before this something like a batched proof commit or something like that would make the cost, or having those two changes coming at the same time, so that maybe if miners are willing to pay more, that's okay. Sorry, paying the same and sealing more, that's okay, as long as they don't clog the chain with weird behaviors. So my proposal is, let's build better tooling. Let's get pre-commit, let's get proof commit patched, both of them, and then try to get them maybe all in the same PR.
Exactly, and also maybe improvement to the public storage deals and all the other stuff that I think we know they're important for the storage markets, and it should land before or with this PR.
Yeah, sure.
A lot of batching improvements. Yeah, definitely a I think Ayush was showing a screenshot of someone who'd done, I don't even know how many published storage deals, one after the other, after the other, after the other. It was like, oh no, need to batch
So
that.
public storage deals technically is batch, but I don't know why they're submitting one by one. Maybe we are missing something. There's some tuning that we need to do.
Lotus.
Yeah, it's not implemented in Lotus.
There we go.
Sounds like low hanging fruit then. Perfect.
Yeah, it's not exactly trivial due to how we discover deal IDs, but it's doable. Yeah, definitely. Like we should try to have it in the next version, maybe.
Cool. So we are officially off our agenda since I don't think we had any PRs to the FIP process itself. Is there anything else that folks wanted to talk about or questions for each other?
Yeah, one small thing. Magic, do you want to talk about the 0 BLS address, if that'll be relevant to implementers who are maybe using different libraries who may not verify those messages?
Yeah, so there is this 0 BLS address, which is what it sounds like. It's just a BLS address with private key that's all zeros. And the public key for that, due to how BLS works, is also all zeros. And some libraries, like it's fine, it doesn't break anything. It's just that this address is pretty useless because everyone knows the private key to it. And another issue is that some libraries will not allow you to verify signatures from this address, or will not verify aggregated signatures with messages from that address. And we have a few messages to this address, and I think also from this address on chain now, which is unfortunate, but we are basically disallowing sending from that address, and I think to that address as well in the next network recovery version 7, I believe.
We're only disallowing sending to it.
Wait, that should be from.
That's not what we did.
Yeah, so that's the thing. We sounds like we will have to disallow sending from it because that's the problem.
Well, this way anyone can just drain its balance and then it's unsendable, right?
Yeah, basically, yeah, true. So if we just drain the balance after the upgrade, it's still unusable.
Cool. So a note for something that other folks should also do as they're thinking about this upgrade.
Yeah, basically the message that there are messages from that address on chain now, and if you see like message the aggregate signatures failing to verify on some blocks, and you are not using Plus or other like PLS implementation we used before, then this might be related.
But won't be relevant until y'all reach like high 200,000 plus. So we'll talk about it in 2022.
All right. Anything else? Yeah. Race. Who's the furthest ahead? Who can sync the highest up the chain right now?
Lotus.
Oh,
Lotus
not
is definitely
counting
winning.
you. Cheating. No, but actually, who's the furthest? I want to know. We should keep a leaderboard. Leaderboards are a great motivator. New learning from Space Race and Flickshot.
I think if there's our leaderboard, we won't be sleeping for like weeks.
Yeah, I'm too competitive for that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
It sounds like
Yeah.
a lot of folks are currently at the Actors V2 bucket. Stephen showed a PR that was trying to land with Actors V2. Austin, I know you guys are working on it. Maxim, I believe you guys are doing some refactoring before you get to the Actors V2 stuff, right? So
Kind of. So we have some compatibility of Actors V2, but we're currently improving it.
okay, so it may be that Fuhan has the title right now.
Yeah, but we haven't tested against mainnet, so no
there you go.
hate for us so
No
far.
hype.
We're also at a disadvantage because we're re-implementing actors. So we have a lot more output to have to do.
Actors V2 upgrade is very large in re-implementing actors. Touche.
Or just actors V1. There's so much detail to it. There's quite a lot.
Yeah. Extra kudos to Anorth and the actors team for doing all of that stuff the V1 time as well.
Definitely gained an appreciation for the work they've done from having to re-implement it.
Epic. All right. Well, we'll start taking notes on this in future meetings. Come with your exact current height sync to, and we'll put it in the notes so that we can have our unofficial leaderboard. Awesome. Cool. Well, that's it for today then. Thank you guys so much. Happy Thursday, and we'll see you guys after the American Thanksgiving holidays. I think Ayush is going to be leading meetings going forward from here to save me part of the time zone stuff. So thanks, Ayush.
Sounds good. Cool. Happy syncing, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
See you guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks. Bye.